Hey guys, and welcome to the tutorial grid. On this tutorial, we're going to be checking out 3D bump maps and how to create them in Photoshop for all your 3D elements, mostly flat elements and stuff. So you can create like metal textures as well as like concrete textures and stuff like that. Basically stuff with like a lot of cracks or like brush mapping and stuff like that. But first, go ahead and go over to the Facebook tutorial grid Facebook and like us at facebook.com/tutorial grid. You can check out all the new tutorials as well as some cool things about the new cinema show that I'm doing where we check out movies as well as take a film effect from that movie and create it in After Effects or 3ds Max. But let's get right into this. Also, like us on YouTube. You know you want to like us on YouTube. YouTube is awesome. Subscribe, please. All right, so in After Effects, we have this 3D bump map, and this is what it kind of looks like. We got this flat image, and we have some texture, and some illumination, and some specular. So how we're going to create this is we are going to find an image that you would like, mainly something with some kind of texture on it, and we're going to go into Photoshop. We're going to hit File, and then we're going to find where our cracks or our diffuse layer that we're wanting to create or want to work on and make this kind of texture. So I have this cracks kind of looking thing. So we're going to hit Open, and that's going to open up our scene here. All right, now this is pretty good. If you have a colored texture layer, usually I recommend desaturating that. Since mine's black and white, basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Saturation, and just turn the saturation down if you have a colored image, and then you're going to work off of that. But since I have this black and white image, I'm going to just use this. Okay, now we have some good spots where it's black, some good spots where it's white. This is just an image I found online. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this background layer, and you're going to go over and you're going to duplicate that by pulling it down into our new file here, or our new layer. And you're going to go to Filter, Nvidia Tools, Normal Map Filter. Now, if you don't have this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go online and you're going to go to Google and type in Nvidia Bump Map, and that'll bring you over to the Nvidia Zone developer zone. And you're going to hit either 64-bit or 32-bit, depending on what type of machine you're working on. Most people are going to be using 64-bit. I recommend getting a 64-bit machine because I don't really know a lot of people are using 32-bit anymore. But for 32-bit, you still have that. Click on that one, but you're going to click on 64-bit, and that'll bring over your download, and you'll be good to go. Basically, just go through the install and install that directly into Photoshop. Make sure Photoshop is not running if you're trying to install this plugin, or else it won't install correctly. So after that's installed, you'll go back into Photoshop, go again to Filter, Nvidia Tools, Normal Map Filter. Now this kind of brings up this little display here. We have a lot of different options we can choose from. We have 4 sample, which is what I recommend using. And then we also have RGB average, which we're going to click on that, make sure that's selected. And then you have these minimum Z and scales. So basically what we're going to be using is the scale. Usually what I recommend is anything through 1 through 5, unless you have something that you really want to get every single little bit in detail from. 4 kind of looks like this. If you go hit standard 3D preview, it'll bring up a new little dialog box, which will scale it up. And you can kind of see how this looks. Now you see there's a lot of texture being brought in, and that is good. So you can get all the little detail, little bits and pieces through there, as well as all the cracks. Now I recommend that you have a 3D graphics card, or this might not work correctly. So yeah, that's what it kind of looks like. Now let's look at it. If you do something crazy, or you say you want to hit 50 on scale, this is kind of what it looks like. You get every single little bump and crack and everything that's kind of on there. But I'm going to stick with I'm going to hit 5, and we're going to see how this works. So after that's said and done, do Add Height to Normal Map, Animate Light, 4 sample, average RGB, and hit OK. Now this is what our map is going to look like. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to find the folder that we want to put this in. And we're going to go down to Photoshop and hit JPEG. And we're going to just name this cracks underscore bump. This is going to be our normal bump map, and hit save and hit OK. So we've got our bump map saved. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into After Effects. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Composition, New Composition, and 1920 by 1080 will work. If you don't want to work in that, just do a 720 and 23.976 for film and hit OK. And we're going to go to Layer, New, Solid, and we'll just hit a new solid and we'll type in Element and bring that down. And we're going to hit Scene Setup in our element element effect. And then we're going to go to models. Now, if you don't have any models, I recommend making a model, or you just use the kind of starter pack that comes with it. I have the regular pack that comes with the bigger download from Video Copilot. So we're going to hit Flat Box, and it just brings up this normal 3D model with this regular diffusion layer that has nothing attached to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our material layer, and we're going to hit Diffuse, and we're going to hit Load Texture. We're going to find our texture, which is going to be this little cracks, and we're going to hit Open and OK. And now that brings in our layer. Notice there is nothing to this at all. It's very flat. There's reflection. It's just looks like a picture in a picture frame. Also, you probably have draft textures selected. If you don't want to see this kind of like grainy kind of look, you can hit draft textures again, and that'll pull in all of your textures. Now, the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to go to our normal bump and hit non-set. We hit load texture again, and we're going to find our bump map that we created. We're going to select that and hit open. Now, notice what that does. You have a lot of this texture, and you have all that stuff that we had created right back on top of this layer. Now, it looks a lot more 3D. You have all the texture there, and it looks amazing. Now, there's a couple things you can do. If you don't like the way this looks, you can try switching up the textures, making this a little bit more metallic looking by inverting it. You can also do swap XV or XY. You can do invert Y, make it look a little bit different, and you can just kind of mess around with these until you find something that you like. I'm going to do invert the X. So I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to hit OK. And now you can kind of see how this is looking. Now, it doesn't look exactly 3D right now. It has this weird reflection on all the black levels because there's technically nothing there. So the way to fix this is you're going to go back into Photoshop. Now, remember those layers, since we duplicated this, we also have a regular background layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that, and we're going to drag it down to new file again, we're going to drag it down to our new layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Levels. And what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a Specular Map. We're going to bring our black levels down to about right here. So we have a good black kind of in these levels here. And then we're going to move our median up to where we just get these kind of specular dots. I mean, you can do something like this, but it'll look a little funny. But we'll bring our specular layer kind of down so we have some type of reflection. And then we're also going to kind of bring this up so we have more of a spec map. All right, and hit OK. And then we're going to go to File, Save As, Photoshop, hit JPEG. We're going to name this Cracks Spec or Specular, whatever you want to do, and hit Save. Now we'll go back into After Effects, and we'll go down to the specular set, and we'll hit the non-set and load text. So we're going to find our specular layer. We're going to hit that. We're going to hit open. And that's going to bring in our spec map. Now notice it brings all the black levels back, and you don't have that weird kind of reflection anymore. And then we're going to hit OK. So look at what that did. That brought in our spec map, and now we have this really cool looking 3D texture. And yeah, it looks pretty awesome. We have it on the back, on the front. It looks pretty cool. Now we can mess with these different effects by going into the basic settings. You can move up your specular if you want more of that kind of shinier look, more like a metallic, broken metallic kind of look. You can mess with the shininess. make this look really cool, more of like a glossy kind of look, or you can just bring down the shyness completely and it's going to be very flat. If you want to create more of like this concrete texture, not really reflective, but it's more of just blah concrete, you can do that as well. You can also mess with the light settings. We have the cinema setting, bringing in this really dark luminous texture. Also underwater for blue. But that's kind of how you do it. So let's just go ahead and mess with kind of this concrete look. What we're going to do is we're going to turn down the reflection pretty much all the way. That way we don't have any type of ambient texture, because in Elements it has Enviro Map, which works off of the 3D texture if you ever wanted to create something that is very reflective. So we don't really want to have that on. You can mess with the Fresnel settings, but we don't really have a Fresnel map to work off of. So let's go ahead and put this into our 3D composition. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And let's go into group 1. Let's go to particle look and rotation. Let's go ahead and rotate this on the x-axis and move that up. And let's create a camera to kind of check out what we just created. So go to Layer, New, Camera, and select Camera. And let's go ahead and move in our camera a little bit, just a little bit. Let's check out all this detail that we were able to create. And look at that. Just look at that. Just look at it. Just look at it. I mean, you have this cool looking 3D texture, and it's all in After Effects. But anyway, guys, this is Cherokee over Tutorial Grid. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube, and make sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/tutorialgrid. There will be a lot more tutorials to come. Also, make sure to check out the cinema show. Check out the cinema show. We like to hear your thoughts, so comment below if you think I could have done better. Comment if you don't like it. Comment even if you do like it, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear exactly what you want to learn, and I want to help you along the way. But anyway, this is Cherokee Tutorial Grid, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.